My dear siblings, put on their costumes. Return home and feel good about your hair and clothes.
How you smell is directly related to how you look.
Return home. They ought to feel sexually aroused just by looking at you.
The Prophet's hurry up intimacy with his spouses was rare for me, and he made good on his promise to his wives.
In a month, how many of us?
Even with our wife, we haven't had an intimate encounter. She seems occupied with waiting.
Her attire is changing.
Her goal is to entice you.
Which one is it? Oh, I'm done. Feeling exhausted?
Why, exactly, will that take place during the night? Even though some of us aren't very strong, that's no excuse to come here and say you can't have an intimate relationship with your own spouse.
Lying can lead to a reward.
Plus, I have no shame when it comes to discussing it.
Men are to blame for assuming women don't have sexual desires, which is why I've brought it up multiple times. As he explains to the companions, this was the Prophet's refuge. Having an intimate relationship with your wife and meeting all of her needs is a selfless act, as we learned at the concert.
Appropriately, the Sahaba were.
They inquired about something.
It seems like a charity, doesn't it?
Would you get to sin if you put it in harem?
He asks. Thus, they confirmed that we would indeed get to some.
Assuming you follow the correct halal procedures and are mindful of the fulfillment of the rites, you will certainly receive a reward. Up there is the spouse, and down there is the messenger. Remember that the prophets are seldom used for anything other than intercourse with one's own spouse, some kind of love, even during menstruation. So, when you get home and are intimate with your spouse, keep that in mind. We are unable to discuss this matter any further with him. However, this has been partially clarified by the Prophet's asylum. At that point, he says, we will stop, with the exception of the act itself, which is obviously taboo. When a woman is menstruating, there is a great deal that many people can accomplish just by using their hands.
So, you're riding your bike, huh?
We'll see you next week.
What's happening? I tell you the truth.
It's a female.
She has no responsibility. This is inspired by a statute.
An empty water container.
In Allah's name, show them reverence.
You have a husband there. Our Professor Salim informed us of this. Listen, he said. He blessed his own lips as he spoke it, and now we sit.
Did you just say that I am an upright Muslim? He was just like you.
Some of the lower class people sell them when you hear Muhammad speak.
Selling Islam should be everyone's goal.
No, that isn't the sole correct choice. It is said aloud.
Our lives, however, diverge greatly from one another.
The one known as Ali.
He was by himself. In what ways do you believe that constitutes Professor Salim's sole right?
Salat Salim is to be recited every time his name is mentioned. To put it simply, that is paramount.
Indeed, it is a blessing. Indeed, it is essential. Make sure you don't miss it.
Oh, and that's not all.
Embrace each moment.
A complete celebration of your life will become clear to you at that point. When you return home to find your wife happy, you feel a sense of joy and fulfillment that permeates your entire being. Our focus was on another woman outside, and that's the problem.
Yes, that is correct.
We're looking intently at someone else outside.
A romantic affection.
Your love story begins here.
I will do my best to keep us safe. Your wife has been patiently waiting for you to return home.
And sometimes she even looks forwards to it, because it's halal, a subject, and a charity. To the best of her ability, she has shielded herself.
Do you realize what you just witnessed?
Oh, I'm done.
Why am I exhausted? You would have completely disregarded your fatigue had there been a football match.
Permit us to be forgiven.
Waiting until 3 in the morning would have been appropriate if there had been a UFC match. However, we also offer 11 for your wife.
I know you're anxious.
Master the art.
Find out who the real son of the Prophet was. Islam, my brothers and sisters.
His counsel was full of transparency. It is not something we bring up in sermons.
That is why I am so grateful to whomever thought of such a lovely subject. The gains of the solitary.